Hey everybody, welcome to the garden. I hope you're having a great day. Shout out to the lemon and lime lovers and everybody in between. It's time for the crypto market recap. Let's hop into these charts, see what the story is and what it may be. And remember, if you're interested in any of the services I provide, check the links in the description for both the Patreon and Discord. So if you want to get callouts or you want tutoring, take a look at those links. Okay. Let's hop in. Look at this. So today is a fairly red day. We'll see how it continues to play out. It's pretty early, about 7 hours left in the daily candle, but Bitcoin is showing significant resistance towards this line, significant denial here. This is beautiful. And instead of a bullish consolidation like I was mapping out possibly happening, it looks like as of right now, we're getting a bit more of an exhaustive move, so a reversal going towards the top of this wedge. Okay, so let's get into the mix of this. So what is going to happen? What is possibly happening here? So this resistance line, which we've gone over in the past couple videos, how important it is, just by going backwards in time with it, is really proving to show that, hey, this line is super significant and that it's not to be trifled with, and we're seeing it right now. Look at this. Swift denial, very, very tough level for Bitcoin to try and challenge. So far it's failed. And now that it's getting towards the top of this wedge, we're going to see if Bitcoin can hold the top of this wedge as support. All right, so if that happens, what is the plan? So what I'm thinking, if this happens, if Bitcoin holds this wedge as support, I'm likely going to close the short. Okay, so we are in profit, especially now, we're in great profit. And I would look to close the short and possibly flip long. Okay, nothing has changed in my book regarding the midterm outlook. All right, I'm still midterm bearish just based off everything that's happened. But I'm always going to try and take the side with the highest probability, especially in the short term. Okay, so if this happens and we get a nice hold on this top of the wedge, then going long here, taking the profits of the short, going long and aiming for another move towards this rising trend line looks like a very nice play. So I will definitely keep my eye on it. It really depends on how Bitcoin comes to this line. So let's say it comes straight down today, right? Let's say it comes straight down and then it bounces, and on the bounce it gets a significant retrace up and starts painting some sort of flag, some sort of consolidation pattern. Then it's likely going to make a nice move back down. All right, this is probably where I would love to enter, and then another move higher. All right, so what I want to see if I want to get long is a sharper move down to this wedge. I do not want to see, and of course, in the sharp move, this has to hold, right? It can pierce it, but come back above it, right? It must hold it. But if this starts slowing down and we get a small little bounce here, and then it starts painting some sort of consolidation pattern, I'm going to see that as being bearish, and that's likely going to come down and test this level here at 42,100, 42,000. Okay, so it does. A lot of people don't seem, or at least a lot of traders don't seem to really take into account how things get to certain levels. Right, if something comes really steep to a level, well, it's more likely that I'll have a sharper bounce off the level. All right, and then you'll see what kind of consolidation it paints. Could be a bull flag, could be a bear flag. It just depends. It depends on how it performs after. But when things come on a more shallow rather than a sharp, come to a shallow, come to more of a shallow level like that, they come more shallow, it's likely going to consolidate for a much longer time, and a lot of times any significant move up will lead to some sort of bearish or bullish pattern. Just depends. It usually is a continuation of the trend it's in. All right, so again, we'll see, but beautiful denial so far. And if it loses that top level and comes down to 42,000, it's very likely it's going to come to this next support, which is like this little level here, which is about 41,000 to 40,000, just depends on how quickly it gets down there. And then I have very little confidence that, you know, this level is going to hold. And then it'll come down to this level, and I doubt it'll hold this wedge as well. So if this breaks, you know, then we're going back down to like the 30K and lower. Okay, so this is crucial. This is crucial. This is a crucial trend line. It's clearly falling off from. Now it's a crucial point to see if it can hold this top of the rising wedge. And if it can't do that, it's going to test the median of the wedge. And if it can't do that, it's going to go to these levels and likely break. Okay. And I got to tell you, you know, when a bearish or bullish pattern is broken in the opposite direction, and then the price falls back into that pattern it broke, that is far more bearish or bullish depending on the structure, right? So like this would be far more bearish. It breaks through this bearish pattern that was probabilities wise to break to the downside very high, very high. We're talking well over 70%, very high for it to go lower. It breaks it bullish instead, and now that comes back in. That's extremely bearish. That's extremely bearish, and I think that will be that'll be very difficult for the bulls to regain control. You know, that'll be very difficult for them to get control back and break again. So this is a very important time. If there's any hope for Bitcoin in the short term to break even higher, they need to hold this line here for sure. Okay. And let's take a look at Ethereum. So Ethereum, again, very similar to Bitcoin, getting denied off this rising trend line. Another trend line that's very important to it, very important to the structure. Ethereum's Ethereum is more bullish. You know, looking at what is this line? More bullish, than Bitcoin in a vacuum, because it means holding this longer term trend line, broke this really, really strong descending trend line as resistance, and now is possibly going to come back down to 3,000, maybe a little higher, maybe 3,100, and see if it can hold that. But Bitcoin is the king. So like once Bitcoin starts making a trending move, most of crypto will follow. At least in the short term, almost all of crypto follows in the midterm. So look at this. I mean, beautiful move down, and now we're gonna see if this can hold. If it doesn't, look for it to come. It's gonna blow past 2,800, or at least ride 2,800 until this rising trend line hits, and this will likely break if Bitcoin starts breaking back into the wedge, or at least to the bottom part of the wedge. Okay, and don't mind my dog; he just wants to be in the video. Yeah. So Ethereum, beautiful. So in regards to our positions, we are short both Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we're in the money on both, especially after today. It's a very nice gain so far. But I'll keep my eye out for possibly flipping long if I see opportunities in regards to Bitcoin. And if I do in Bitcoin, I'm gonna do it in Ethereum, because I'm just gonna mirror the two. Okay, it just tends to work out a lot better that way. Let's go through a few altcoins. I don't know if I'm going to go through all of these altcoins, but I'm going to go through quite a bit. So this is probably going to be a little bit of a longer video, and I'll try to get through everything. I'm definitely going to look at DOGE, XRP, Solana. All right, so let's take a look at DOGE. Okay, yeah, remember last video I was talking about DOGE. See, possible flag formation was forming, but I was also, giving a bit of a poo-poo, a warning on this. Like, look at this wick, man. I mean, this wick here is super concerning. It was definitely very clear that this was possibly a ceiling being formed, and that if we didn't get an impulse higher to it quickly, that we would see some sort of reversal down. And now I think we're getting it. And it's pretty interesting to see that when you get a lot of wicks in one direction, that is kind of a telltale sign that, hey, there's clearly a denial happening. There's clearly some sort of wall here that the market participants can't get past, right? So the buyers were just drying up here. They didn't want to buy at this level or higher, and the sellers, they eventually gave up and were like, all right, we'll sell to you down here. And now the buyers are like, well, I'm going to wait for a better deal. So we're probably going to see anywhere from 13.5 and maybe even lower, maybe towards 12.2, 12.3, so 13.5 cents to 12 cents. So this is going to be pretty rough on Doge. On Doge, it just couldn't hit my first target box, at least right now. It still has a chance, especially if it holds 13.5, and then gets another nice rally. But as of right now, with how Bitcoin, Ethereum are looking, that seems unlikely, at least in the short term. All right, so let's take a look at Solana. All right. So, a couple videos back, maybe 3 or 4, I mentioned that Solana, at times, will either front run or lag the markets, and it doesn't always trade 1-to-1 with Bitcoin, unlike a lot of other coins. I said only sometimes, and this is one of those times. You see how Solana has a beautiful move, and today, I mean, we're in a sea of red. Not huge, not a huge impulse down, but a significant sell-off coming right now. And Solana's still holding tight. It's lost some of its gains. Of course, I think it's had about a 7% day. That's right, about 7%, and it's now at about 3%. So it's holding off the selling. And this is the beautiful example of Solana kind of lagging behind the market, because I don't think this is front running. Okay, there's not front running because a lot of coins have broken their resistance already, just like Solana did, and had their impulses. Solana had its impulse yesterday, and now it's continuing it to get to a somewhat significant resistance line, which is about 137, 140. So this to me is a lagging move. I would not see this as a front running move. So if you're hoping that Solana is showing us what may happen, in the coming days, I think everything else showed us what's happening now is going to happen Solana in the next coming days. Okay, so I would love to get a short in on Solana anywhere from 137 to 148. Like, this is the zone I would definitely be targeting. But beautiful move so far. We'll see if we can keep this follow through, keep this momentum. But here's a good example of relative strength against Bitcoin. Okay, it doesn't last forever, but it lasts for a time. Let's take a look at Uniswap. Uniswap, beautiful. Wow, look at that. I mean, it's under where we originally took our long profits off of, because we had long down here, and then we were able to close around 11.30 to 11.50, somewhere in that zone, and now we're actually trading under there. And look, it even made that move to $12, which was, I was saying, it's possible if it could get there, especially if Bitcoin got to 44.5. It got there, and then it immediately started selling off from there. So very, very nice. This candle, if it closes like this, especially if it engulfs this body, you'll probably see it come down pretty hard. I shouldn't say pretty hard, but it won't be a bullish consolidation. It would likely just be a reversal. So the first major support would be anywhere from right here. So around 1050-ish. Yeah, about 1050-ish. And if that's lost, then look for, it's just going to come back down to 8.66. Yeah, it'll just come back down to there. There's some support here, but it's not significant enough. I think it'll just come right down to 8.66. But this is somewhat of a significant support level. But considering this candle and how little it made it higher, it didn't even make it past that pivot, this pivot here. Then it's still more probable this breaks and we just come back to 8.66. Yeah. But yeah, this trade worked out well with Uniswap. Keep my eye on it. I'll keep my eye on it. It's not too interesting right now. It's not really an interesting short. It's nowhere near a level where I would be comfortable longing it. But definitely something I'll keep my eye on in the future, because it traded pretty well for us. Let's take a quick look at Cardano. Cardano, yeah, look at that. Beautiful break. Cardano was lagging the market too, but had its break and then got to this resistance and really stalled out. And look at that, another example. Look at this. When you see a lot of wicks in the same direction and very little wicks in the other direction, a very clear sign that, hey, you're probably getting towards, at least in the short term, some sort of stop, whether that's to the downside or upside. In this case, it's the upside. So this is beautiful to see. And Cardano's move is likely just going to get it back down to $1. And what's interesting with Cardano is if it could hold that level, then we possibly have painting here a inverse head and shoulders, kind of an ugly one, but we'll see possibly. Again, that'll be very dependent on Bitcoin and Ethereum if they can hold key support levels. If they can't, this is going to break lower for sure, and test this downtrending trend line as support, which would still be bullish if it holds it, by the way. So even if it breaks, let's say it comes down and it breaks even under here, under this low, and tests it down here, yeah, I mean, that's actually still bullish if it holds it. That would probably be a great place to possibly open long. I'll keep my eye on it, Cardano. But this denial seems pretty clear, and we're very probable to come back down to $1, $1.04. Let's take a look at XRP. So here's a chart. XRP. All right. So I mean, again, I was saying, I believe the last video or the video before last, like this move was pretty suspect, right? Pretty suspect. It just, XRP is very difficult to chart because of that SEC lawsuit. Mainly because any structure it makes, especially if it's bullish, it just has a grip on it. It has a pretty tight grip on it. It's very hard to get any follow through as long as that lawsuit is happening. At least that's how it seems to show up on the chart. Everything seems to be a bit squashed on it. But so far, it's pretty bearish. Well, it definitely has a bearish bias towards it. Kind of a double top forming here. It's now testing this short-term trend line. We'll see how this goes. So far, it's holding it, but there's a lot of time today, about 7 hours left on this candle, so we'll see how that goes. And look at this. I mean, again, look what I said before. It's like you got these little signs of denial. I mean, like, look at this. These wicks are like they're all just like little denials. There doesn't seem to be much follow through on XRP. And again, I'm attributing that to the legal issues that Ripple's having. I mean, you have this quick impulse, and then you try to get a continuation, and boom, another sell-off, another consolidation, breaks higher slowly. This is a slow break higher, and then boom, you try to get another continuation off of this beautiful candle, and boom, denied again, and then a little sell-off here, and then same story, full body candle, try continuation, and boom, another denial, and now you get even a bigger denial here, a bigger sell-off here. It wasn't very convincing, this move, but we'll see. I mean, hey, if this holds here and then it has another consolidation and breaks even higher, it could turn into something. It could really get back to that dollar point, but there just seems to be a bit of a stranglehold on XRP, and it's one of the reasons why I just won't really chart it, at least for the group. I won't propose much ideas about it. But yeah, it is sitting at a pretty key support zone here. But it's been sitting here for a long time. So, this is waning for sure. This is definitely waning. I would see this chart that I have on XP is much more longer term. It's less of a trade, like a swing trade, setup. It's more of an accumulation. Like if you're looking to get an XRP or whatever, this box here for, years and years, if you're accumulating, would be the golden zone. Because if Ripple could, succeeds in what it's doing, these prices are not going to be where XRP sits. Okay, maybe one day I'll do a video on XRP, like specifically, not just the chart, but like what's actually brewing with it. There seems to be a lot of misinformation about it. I've had the blessing to talk to a few actual people at Ripple during 2017, so I have somewhat of a clear understanding of what their goal is, and from everything I've seen, nothing of their goals have changed. So, this is mainly a chart of unknowns in regards to what's happening legally, but their utility, I have very, very little doubts or concerns in regards to how this would perform if they get the boot off them and they're allowed to use XRP how they want. Then, who knows? XP, it's sky the limit, to be honest. All right, let's take a look at Luna. So, wow, okay. So, Luna, I said about, I think it was the last video or the video before, if you're playing the breakout trade on Luna, be very careful because, yeah, it made a new all-time high. But because Bitcoin and Ethereum are coming to some really significant resistance zones, that this is likely going to reverse back. and could even be a fake out. All right. So because you gotta look, even though this bearish pattern broke bullish, it's still pretty bearish, guys. I know it's hard to kind of understand that because you're like, well, we just made a new all-time high. It should be bullish, and you're not wrong. That's why I was looking at this far more of as neutral, right? I saw this as more of a neutral move rather than a guarantee that we're going much higher. I did map out where we would go if it broke and continued to have follow through. It would be around the 130 to 150 zone, like that big zone up there. But the reason why I was a little, had some trepidation on that, and I even mentioned in that video, is because Bitcoin and Ethereum were at some really, really key levels, and they had like very little exhaust or no exhaust periods to get there. So, now we're seeing Luna have some sell off, but again, it's not bearish per se right now. We'll see. It's back in this zone. We'll see if it can hold this zone as support, and now it's going to also test this trend line of the bear flag and see if it can hold that support. All right, and then if it holds that, it's fairly bullish and it could get to a move. I will say though, my target is lowering though, so it'll probably be around 115, maybe 120 at the highest. Reason why is because when you go into price discovery or you attempt to you break all-time high, you want a lot of follow through, right? So you want to leave that previous all-time high in the dust. You don't want to linger there. You want to come back to this high after a long period of time away from it, right? So here's a good example. Let me get to Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's a good example of this. So Bitcoin, let's see. Well, it hasn't done it yet, but it probably will. I know people don't want to hear that. So this is the previous 2017 all-time or 2020 all-time high that links around the 2017 all-time high. So 2017 all-time high was about 20,000. 2020 got to there, started shuffling under, and then boom, had its breakout. And like since then, it's never come back there. It hasn't even retraced close to it, but now it's probably in that process too. We'll see. We'll see. Again, nothing's guaranteed, but we'll see. But that's what you want to see in a healthy structure. You want to see an asset break its previous all-time high, spend a long time, could be months, years, and then come back during a bear market or just a bearish market, to come back to that zone where it broke the previous all-time high, hold it, and then continue to go up for years and years and do the same thing, rinse, repeat. Okay, what people want, which is, I understand it that people just want things to go up. The problem with that is it's not going to, and it's not healthy if it does. If it does that, you're in a scam and you should sell. You should absolutely sell, because what's going to happen is you will watch it go up in a straight line, and then the next day or next year watch it go down in a straight line. You won't even get an opportunity to sell. You probably lose all your money. You just be paper rich, but not rich. So you want things to go into these periods because it gives you the opportunity to either sell or buy in lower. And that's why, what's been going on in the stock market has been so concerning, because the baby boomers, they have, whether you want to blame the baby boomers, but the people who are making decisions are baby boomers. They're in politics, they're in, halls of power. They have, made legislation that hasn't allowed the markets to go to correct, which the problem with that is now the younger generation who has less money, it's made it very hard for them to try and build wealth by buying things on the cheap. It's very difficult to buy a house when prices don't go down, or buy stocks of Berkshire Hathaway or Tesla or Amazon when the stocks won't go down. And that it doesn't happen because you have baby boomers who run these institutions, write laws and perform actions to keep their wealth from going down. Okay, so we're being run by a bunch of narcissistic fools, and you gotta understand that. All right, and you don't want to be like that. You want there to be waves of wealth and of wealth creation and wealth loss. That's the only way people can move out of the lower class or the upper class, and that also punishes the people who are stupid in the high class. Okay, if you're a stupid person who spends more than you make, and then the market turns down, you deserve to lose it. Okay, you don't want to let these people who are stupid and make life harder on everyone else because of their stupidity to prosper. That's not how they get better. They won't learn, and that's not how you can better yourself and your family. We need to have these natural waves. We need to have these natural waves. So Polkadot. So looking at Luna, it's like this has got to come back. Okay, it's got to come back. It doesn't mean it has to come back now, but it has to come back. And I will say, just like Bitcoin, if this breaks back into this flag, that's pretty bearish. So you could expect it to break lower, because this pattern was definitely, it was very probable for it to break lower. Okay, it was well over 70%. It was very, very, very probable, just based off of what happened. Hits all-time high, denial, beautiful bottom here, comes back, and then denied again, and then was painting a bearish pattern, but got the impulse. So gotta be very careful here. This looks more of like a trap. This looks more like it was a trap, but we'll see. Let's take a quick look at Litecoin. Yep, very similar to XRP actually. Slow kind of Mach-y build up, a lot less wicks though, but not a lot of follow through, not a lot of volatility, and now it's having a pretty significant sell off so far. I mean, you got a lot of time, about 6.5 hours, but yeah, and this is going to come back down to 100, 110, and then maybe lower. If we could hold this, if we could hold that, look at that, another possible inverse head and shoulders. All right, oh, did the wrong thing, but yeah, another possible inverse head and shoulders being painted there. So you gotta keep your eyes on this stuff. We'll see possible. Link, let's take a quick look. Link. See, I really like this zone still, but yeah, with Bitcoin weakness, it's having some trouble. So it may not get there. But yeah, we'll see. I'm starting to lean towards, if the daily candle closes like this, it's very likely to come back down to 1550. Yeah, 1550 for sure. If it holds that, that's actually not a bad support zone for it, to be honest. That's not too bad. It's not too bad. But yeah, if it holds that, then I think we still have a good chance to get to this descending trend line, about $18. If it doesn't, look for 1340, and if that breaks, well, you're probably looking at I want to say about $10, maybe a little higher. Maybe in the next couple of videos I'll do a little bit more of a deeper dive on Link. I just want to get through these coins because we have a few here. Yeah, but yeah, this definitely looks at least really good to come back down towards the 1550 zone, and then maybe even 1340. Polkadot, yeah, another denial. Very, very nice. Look at the wicks, clearly telling you can't get past this level, and it's going to come right back down. It's going to test this long-term trend line it's had. I will say, if Bitcoin falls back into that wedge, look for this to start to break for sure. Like, it's so likely if that happens, Bitcoin starts having significant sell-offs, boom, this will break, and you're going to see a $14 Polkadot. Yeah, beautiful chart though. Like, so if you're looking to go long-term on Polkadot, I mean, you could probably get this at a really good price. So 14 would be really nice. If Bitcoin starts breaking at the bottom of the wedge, if it goes back in and starts breaking under the wedge, you're probably going to see this even lower. So, again, don't see this sell-off as a negative. See it more as there's opportunity here. There's a lot of opportunity here. All right, there's a ton of opportunity here. You might be able to get some of these projects that you might, if you do your own research, you might personally like, that you could start buying into for as an investment if you really believe in them. Again, no investment advice here. I'm just saying in general. All right, so BNB, same thing. So far getting denied. We'll see. But yeah, same thing. And BNB this actually looks good to just come back down to the descending trend line. It trying to hold 410 seems very unlikely. Maybe three. So about, I would say 400 to 390 is going to be a zone for this. It might even start painting a bearish flag there, or some sort of bearish consolidation, to try and get the fuel to go lower and then break down something like to around here, or maybe even this descending trend line. This will depend on how fast it comes down. Yeah, but BNB actually looks fairly bullish in a vacuum. like in the midterm. But the problem is longer term. This is not that pretty. Yeah, it's not that pretty. I mean, this could have been the move. This could have been all of it. Let's see. Hold on. This could have been all that was in Binance Coin. Let's see. No, okay, no. It's yeah. This is gonna be. We're going. We're going to a really important level. So yeah, I would. Yep, the 390 to 400 zone. Like I was saying, this is gonna be important. This is gonna be very important. This is gonna define whether Binance is gonna be able to hold, or it's gonna come back down and test this descending trend line. If I had to put my money on it, I'm gonna say it's probably gonna break down and go to the descending trend line. But yeah, see, that's the power trend lines, guys. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Unreal. Look at that. The magnet's making that impossible. Oh boy. Wow, look at that. So incredible. So yeah, look for Binance 400 to 390, like that zone. And I do want to mention something about Binance Coin. I'm not an expert in the pancake swap and pretty much the Binance DeFi stuff, but if this coin starts to sell off really hard, be very careful if you're in Binance DeFi stuff or all those projects. All the liquidity is just going to start dissipating. And it's the same thing for everything else. Solana, Ethereum. Like, I don't know why people can't seem to understand this. No matter how many coins you make, they're still tied to this one coin. So if this starts like falling under 300, you do know like a lot of those projects are just going to get decimated. So yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Be extremely careful, be wise, and be vigilant. Don't get greedy. If you have a lot of money you've made, I implore you to start looking to at least taking some out and enjoying it. Okay, let's take a look at XTZ. Tezos. I mean, very interesting. Very interesting. Clearly at resistance. Tezos did not really do too much in this run. Well, I shouldn't say that. Yeah, it really compared, relative, it didn't really have a massive impulse, but it did have some big moves before the impulse. It kind of front ran this move higher, right? Because this was early February, and then everything else started moving early March to late March now. So this had a nice move, but yeah, this is interesting, and this is interesting. I do like Tezos. But I do see it is going to come down much lower. But let's draw a line here and see what we're actually looking at. Whoop, almost out. Okay. Huh. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's pretty. That's somewhat pretty. I could probably draw that better, but I think I'm getting the gist of what it's telling me. So Tesla's broke. Yeah, it broke its descending trend line, but it's at like a really strong resistance zone. Like, take a look at this. So right here. So somewhere like right here. We'll just draw it there. Look at that. This is kind of, wow, it cuts Tezos' chart in half almost, right? So you see like half the time, or I would say somewhat more than half the time, but a significant portion of time it's under this and it tests it, and then whenever it gets above it, it has massive impulses higher. Whenever it gets above that level, that zone. And that seems to be what's happened here, right? Gets through, massive impulse higher, tries to hold it, fails, and then now is failing off of it. So we'll see, but we'll see what Tezos does. But this looks ready to come down lower. This definitely looks ready to come down lower. Let's draw a parallel channel as well, and see if that gives us another view. So let's draw it from here. Let's turn on the pivot so everyone can see a little bit better. Yeah. So we'll draw it from the 5.36 to the 4.6. And we'll see if that tells us anything. And what will be the bottom? 3.80? This doesn't look too good actually. Nope. No. No. So if this is what you see in a parallel channel, it's not a parallel channel. So now we're going into what looks like a possible triangle formation, right? See, and this is how it helps you pretty much get through all the scenarios you can see here. Let's see. Okay, so if this is going to be the top, we don't know this yet, right? So this we don't know yet. So if this is going to be some sort of top, at least in the short term, then we're possibly going into what looks like some sort of symmetrical triangle, right? And that usually means that we're probably going to go lower. If it's going to follow the overall market. So if Bitcoin does break lower, then look for this to finally break lower. It is pretty interesting though. I feel like, again, this feels like Tesla's kind of underperformed, for sure. It does feel like it's underperformed, but it has had some really nice impulses. Like, this is beautiful. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. I'll keep my eye on Tesla's. It doesn't seem to have. It doesn't really catch my eye though. I don't really see much opportunity right now. But this is not a bad place to possibly short. Maybe earlier if you were coming into this line. All right, let's take a look at MATIC. I just want to look one more time. Nah, I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it. Okay. So let me look at MATIC. Yeah, I can take these off. Yeah, again, more just. Yeah, like this broke a structure, like longer term. This broke a structure longer term. This is pretty much done for a while. So Polygon's done for a while. It had its impulse. It had its nice impulse. Had a nice little break of that. It's very unlikely to get back up to here right now to test this. But it longer term, this looks done. This looks like it's going to break towards at least $1. Yeah, I would not. This would be where I would target for a longer term investment. Anywhere from 92 cents to $1 would be where I would want, or $1.05, I should say. So right here, it's really, you want to hold this right here. So you want to hold this little pivot here, so about 94.5 cents. And then you want to hold this low here, which is about $1. So like this is what I see being really nice. And this would have a bullish structure. This would be bullish. So if it holds this zone here, look at this low. All right, you'll have a nice higher low from this low. Okay, so you'll end up having a structure similar to like this, right? And that would be, on a longer term, more bullish. So this is what I would be aiming for. Just saying. But yeah, you're gonna see a lot of altcoins that look like this. Again, if it loses that level, it could still come back down to under $1. I don't see that happening though. I do think if Polygon is gonna have longer term value creation, it'll probably hold that $1 mark. Again, I don't really follow this project that much, so if something's changed fundamentally with it, I don't know. I'm just looking at the chart. I'm going to skip ahead. Let's take a look at AVAX. Look at that. Yeah. And oh, wow. And I actually think it might have done the full measured move. So I had mentioned before about the measured move from the breakout. Look at that. I think it did. I might even drawn this a little shorter, but I think it really did hit it. So, it ended up hitting the full measured move of the bull flag, which is really nice to see. That I mentioned that in the last video. Yeah, now it's getting swiftly denied so far off of that resistance. So yeah, AVAX had its move. Now it's time to see what happens, from here. Now is not the time to go long. It was back here. Now we're just going to wait and see. Is it going to find the momentum to break through and confirm above that resistance? Or is it just going to, have a reversal and come back down to $90? We got to wait and see. Again, a lot of it's going to be predicated on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's take a quick look at Atom, because Atom is in that big symmetrical triangle. Yep. And look at that, man. Look at this, like the respect for this line. Look at that. I mean, these wicks, it's pretty crazy to see. So it's looking good to come back down to at least 28, maybe a little lower to 27.5, and then see if it can, whatever direction it breaks this smaller symmetrical triangle is where it's going to go on the larger. So I'll go back down to like 24, 23, and then if it should break higher, I mean, look for it to move up towards like the 35, 33 zone. So yeah, Atom's a fun one. Again, not really tradable for me. I hate trading symmetrical triangles. I really don't like it. Sometimes on a larger one like this, I might play the top or the bottom, but it's really a pattern I avoid because they really are a 50-50. They're a coin flip. You don't really know what's going to happen until it happens. Let's take a quick look at FTT, which is the FTX token. I really don't have anything on this coin right now, but let's see. This one looks like they have held so far a longer term structure so far. Yeah, so far it's definitely holding its longer term rising structure, but this is due to break for sure. If Bitcoin, again, I'm saying for sure. I'm not saying it's a guarantee. It's just a habitual saying, but it's more like I'm thinking of Bitcoin. Like if Bitcoin starts breaking lower, especially under the wedge, it's like for sure going to break because there's no reason for it to not, right? Like there's just no reason for it to not unless the market changes and things don't follow Bitcoin anymore. So, but yeah, look for this to break. I mean, it's going to be some pretty big support towards the 45 zone, pretty big. And then pretty much from 45 to 40, you're going to have a lot of support. So this will take a while. If it does break, it will take a long time. But yeah, FTT, it looks pretty good overall. Broke a descending trend line. Looks good. It looks good. But again, it'll follow Bitcoin. And I'll take a quick look at Ethereum Classic and then I'm ready to go. Okay, yeah, again, still in that bull flag possibly. Like I said, I think if this is going to paint a bull flag, it's going to take quite a while. Actually, I think I'm going to do it from here. Hold on. I think I'm going to do it from here. Yeah. This is going to get really wicky. Really, really wicky. But if this does paint a bull flag, in spite of everything that's happening, yeah, Ethereum Classic will make that move to this higher trend line, or towards this horizontal at $60, $62. Very cool. I mean, I feel like it probably won't if Bitcoin starts breaking down, but stranger things have happened. It is at a resistance zone, and it's definitely finding some denial. Look at where all these wicks are. But this is a really strong ascending trend line, like a very powerful one. So if it's going to challenge anything, it would probably be that. If this is lost, if this bull flag's lost, look for 41, then look for 34, and then look for $30 to $28. Okay, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I would love for the spike higher because I would be very tempted to open short on this. But right now I'm pretty comfortable just being short on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the only other possible short I've been really eyeing is Solana. It just needs a little bit more of a push, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right, I think that's it. I know this is going on real long now, so I'm gonna let this go now. So again, if you need any, if you have any questions or you want to look into any of the services, please check the description below for the links. I do tutorings, I do call outs. Of course, I do free call outs, but if you want more call outs to hopefully make some money, then look into the Patreon, and you can get a look at that. And hopefully the payment for the Patreon or the tutoring is free because you make money from the call outs. That's kind of my idea. All right. So everyone, remember, be patient, be vigilant, and be nimble. Love you guys. Take care.